Is Brad Treliving actually going to make a decisive move before the Olympic freeze? Or will he continue to waffle between Dougie Hamilton's offensive firepower, Luke Schenn's emotional comfort, and Carson Soucy's practical middle ground approach while the championship window slowly closes? Let me set the stage for what's become an absolutely pivotal moment in the Toronto Maple Leaf season. It's Thursday, January 22nd, 2026, and we're exactly 8 games away from the Olympic pause that will freeze all roster transactions. This isn't just another trade deadline conversation. This is the moment where Brad Treliving has to commit to an identity, to a philosophy, to a direction that will define this entire season and potentially the next several years. The menu of options that emerged today presents 3 completely different paths forward, 3 distinct philosophies about how to address the defensive crisis created by Chris Tane's injury, and each one tells a different story about who the Toronto Maple Leafs actually are and what they're willing to sacrifice to win. Let's start with the dream scenario, the high-risk gamble. Dougie Hamilton. The situation in New Jersey is absolute divorce. He's been scratched. The organization wants to clear cap space, and his talent is undeniable. Offensively, Hamilton is a unicorn, a defenseman who can genuinely change the complexion of an offense. Imagine a secondary power play unit with that cannon on the blue line. Imagine him moving the puck, relieving pressure from Morgan, really orchestrating the offense from the back end. Tactically, acquiring Hamilton would transform the Leafs into a team that wins 5-4 games, a team that bludgeons opponents with pure firepower. But here's the brutal reality. The contract is a nightmare. $9 million annually. For Toronto to absorb that, New Jersey would have to retain nearly half the salary, which would cost valuable assets. Bringing in Hamilton is essentially saying that you don't care about defensive purity. You want to overwhelm opponents with scoring. It's a video game approach to real hockey. And historically, Treliving has preferred something more measured and conservative. Then there's a second option, the return of the familiar face, Luke Schenn. There's talk of a third stint with the Maple Leafs, this time coming from the Winnipeg Jets. And emotionally, it makes perfect sense. Schenn was the ideal partner for Morgan really during that 2023 playoff run. He's the bodyguard, the leader, the guy who calms a locker room with his presence and his veteran experience. The cost would be minimal, probably just a mid-round pick. But we have to be cold and analytical here. The game has gotten faster. Schenn doesn't replace what Tana provided. He doesn't have the recovery speed to handle the electric attacks of Florida or New Jersey in a 7-game series. Bringing in Schenn is an emotional band-aid. It's good for culture. It's good for the locker room. But does it actually solve the tactical problem on the ice? It's the conservative bet of someone who just wants to survive the difficult minutes, not someone who wants to dominate them. And then there's the third path, the option that shines brightest through the lens of market intelligence. Carson Soucy. Connect the dots with me here. Yesterday we saw that the New York Rangers sent out that letter to fans announcing the retooling, the liquidation, the fire sale. Soucy is the perfect victim of that clearance sale. He has size, he has wingspan, he's physical, but he skates significantly better than Schenn does, although he's left-handed. Soucy plays comfortably on the right side, which is absolute gold for the Leafs' defensive structure. He's the perfect middle ground. He defends better than Hamilton, and he attacks better than Schenn. And the price? Taking advantage of the Rangers' desperation, he could come out for a bargain price without mortgaging the franchise's future. Carson Soucy is a prototype of the defenseman that Treliving loves. Big, mean, and efficient. Here's what makes Soucy so compelling from a strategic perspective. He's not a flashy acquisition. He's not going to make highlight reels, But he's exactly what this team needs right now. He can play heavy minutes. He can shut down opposing forwards. And he can move the puck well enough to relieve pressure. He's the kind of player who wins playoff games through sheer competence and physical presence. The comparison between these three options is absolutely instructive. Hamilton is the offensive gamble. You're betting that elite talent will overcome any defensive deficiencies. Schenn is the emotional comfort play. You're betting that veteran leadership and familiarity will stabilize the locker room. Soucy is a practical solution. You're betting that a well-rounded, competent defenseman will do exactly what you need without costing you the future. Here's what I think is actually going to happen. Brad Treliving is going to recognize that the Olympic freeze is the real deadline. He's going to understand that he has 8 games to make a decision, and that decision will define everything. If he wants Hamilton, he needs to move now because the financial gymnastics required are complex and time-consuming. If he wants Schenn, it's a quick phone call. If he wants Soucy, he needs to strike before another team recognizes the value. The question for Treliving is which philosophy he actually believes in. Does he believe in overwhelming opponents with offensive talent? Does he believe in veteran leadership and emotional stability? Or does he believe in practical, competent hockey that wins through execution and consistency? So here's the question for Leafs Nation. Should Brad Treliving pursue Dougie Hamilton and commit to an offensive-first philosophy? Should he bring back Luke Schenn for emotional and veteran stability? Or should he make the smart play and acquire Carson Soucy as the practical middle ground? Which defenseman actually solved the problem? Or do you think there's a fourth option that Treliving should be exploring? Drop your thoughts in the comments and hit that like button if you want more coverage of this critical decision. Because the next 8 games before the Olympic freeze will determine whether the Maple Leafs are a championship contender or just another team that couldn't figure out how to compete when it mattered most. The clock is ticking. The options are on the table. And Brad Treliving needs to make a choice that defines his franchise for years to come.